Hello, I'm Tony Farley.
Good afternoon, my name is Sean Tobin.
Hi, my name's Vanessa. I'm a senior. Not particularly. I don't think I've ever felt like inferior to a particular race or group.
I don't think I've ever felt inferior to another race. However, I have had times where I felt like I didn't belong, in a certain place or a certain area. And I think everybody has that sort of feeling, especially when you're somewhere where there's a lot of people of a different race than you. And so, inferior, no. But not belonging, yes.
And the answer is sometimes. My girlfriend's parents, they're a very wealthy family. So sometimes I feel a little awkward around them, but it's not because of their race, it's because they have a lot of money. And their lifestyle is very conservative, so their lifestyle is kind of different than mine too. So sometimes that's a little intimidating, but it's not based on someone's race or what group they're in.
Man, I really love ants. I think they're the coolest animal. And like birds, eagles, hawks, stuff like that. I really love them.
Do you have a favorite animal?
My favorite animal is pigs.
Why?
They're like the smartest farm animal, and no one appreciates them.
My favorite animal is a dog, by far. I think the coolest animal, though, is a giraffe. Giraffes are very cool. I really dig the long neck. I think that's awesome.
Of course, I don't think that animals should be tested for like beauty products or any type of other human consumption, like hair products or testing done on animals. I think that's cruel and it's just inhumane.
Oh man, that's the tough one, right? Because ants, like flies, they'll bug you and they'll get into your food and they'll mess up, So it's hard with ants and flies, and so I kind of try to make a deal. Don't bother me and I won't have to kill you. And I feel bad, but they still bother me and I still have to kill them sometimes. Ants, what I do at home is I just try to keep them out by sealing the floors and sealing the cupboards, the cracks and stuff. I just try to keep them out. And of course, keep the kitchen clean and stuff like that so no ants don't attack. So I try to save them. By doing all that. And yeah, sometimes they just attack. I gotta wipe you up. Sorry, So yeah, I care, but sometimes it's just unavoidable. When I was in the animal rights group, we did a newsletter, like a zine. We did a zine, and I wrote articles on insect rights, because people don't care about insects. Insects are important. They're important to this world. They're important to humans. They're important to everything that goes on. I mean, look what bees do for us, right? So, we should care about insects. They're important.
Well, it depends how you define abuse, okay? I, for one, enjoy eating beef quite a bit. I eat a lot of hamburgers, I eat a lot of steaks, and so if slaughtering cows is considered cruelty, I'd have to say I don't have a problem with that. But as far as animal testing, I think that a lot of that can be done on computer models. And I think hunting animals in the wild, I think anybody who shoots a giraffe is a total dick. So yes, in some cases, in most cases, I would say yes.
Of course, speciesism is alive and well and thriving as much as racism or any of those other isms are, right? Probably worse because most people don't recognize it as as a real thing.
I don't know what speciesism means.
The
It's an
idea
ism.
that humans are more important than animals.
I think they probably are, yes.
I don't think that's true. I think humans go one-on-one with animals, and if you look in our DNA, most of our DNA resembles other animals. So we should be thankful for those evolution and animals.
I'm not for animal testing at all. I'm against it, always have been. And I think, there's a lot of better ways to do research than using animals. And a lot of doctors and researchers know that. They know that they test on animals, and it's like, yeah, well, it really doesn't count until you're really tested on humans, or in vitro or something like that, in a petri dish. But the animal testing is, from what I've learned, very inaccurate.
Animal testing is disgusting, in my opinion. I think it's horrible. I don't think it should be done. Yeah, I don't think it should be done for human products that we use every day. I don't think it should be done.
Well, like I said, I think if it comes down to a human life or an animal's life, then I think you got to go with the human. As far as the testing, like I said, I think a lot of it can be done without the abuse of animals. So I think that that's unnecessary and it should be stopped.
I have been to a zoo. I've been to an aquarium.
Oh yeah. I've been to zoos, aquariums, circuses. I've also protested aquariums and circuses and zoos and stuff like that when I thought they were doing inappropriate things, especially circuses and aquariums with killer whales and stuff like that. I've definitely protested them a lot because I definitely don't think dolphins and killer whales and just animals like that should be kept in captivity. It's bad for them. Okay, fish, all right. They're all right. They're going to be okay, but it's been shown pretty clearly that orcas, die, a lot sooner than they should.
I've been to many zoos, many circuses, and many aquariums. I did enjoy my time, and I'll tell you what, I know that they're getting a lot of flack for the way they treat animals, but some of the best vets in the world work in zoos, and those veterinarians are used to rescue animals as well as maintain their health while they're in captivity. So I think there's two sides to the story, and one doesn't get told very often, and that is all of the good things that people that run zoos and aquariums do for animals as well.
At the zoo, it's really sad being at the zoo because it's yes, it's cool to be up close to the animal, but when you think about it, the animal is in a cage for hours upon hours, 365 days a year, and it never will know what it is to be in the wild. No, I do not think that. I think that big animals such as tigers, lions, and other big cats should be out in the wild. I don't think they should be in cages for most of their life.
I don't think it's okay to imprison animals for human entertainment or even for humans to, most people that say zoos are good say that people got to learn about them in order to care about them. Well, learn about them then. There's the internet. Learn. Go find animals in the wild. That's my opinion. So a lot of zoos with lions. I feel bad for the lions, right? I feel in bigger animals. I feel bad for them. So yeah, not for that.
Well, I wish that Well, it's not necessary, right? Obviously, we don't have to have aquariums, we don't have to have zoos. But the fact of the matter is those are also really good opportunities to teach people about those animals and about why they should be preserved in the wild too. So, while it's unfortunate, it's almost like a museum, except for the animals are alive, right? So, yeah, I wish there was a better way to maybe educate people, and they're certainly not necessary, but I think that they do serve a useful purpose. I have never been vegan or vegetarian, ever.
I am vegetarian. However, I do eat seafood, fish. Used to be vegan. It's hard. Back when it was really difficult, back in the day, 30 years ago, 25 years ago, you couldn't even find soy milk anywhere. Now it's everywhere, which is great. So I have no excuse now, but I used to do it when it was really hard. Oh man, probably 25 years, ago, me and Miss Farley went vegan. And then we've slowly sort of went, okay, we'll have ice cream every now and then, right? Or I went from vegan, hardcore vegan, no dairy, no honey, a lot of things. And then I started, well, if I have a muffin and it has a little milk in the batter, it's okay, So I sort of slowly, gave up that just because it was difficult.
I was vegetarian previously. Unfortunately, I am not. I was vegetarian for about 2 years.
Would you encourage people to become vegan or vegetarian?
Of course, there's also health benefits that come along with being vegan or vegetarian. And if it's something that interests you, then yeah, why not go for it? Challenge yourself.
When I was in college, UC Santa Cruz, I had a lot of friends in the animal rights movement, a lot of vegan, vegetarian friends, and I had a really bad episode where I was cooking dinner. It was chicken and dumplings, and my chicken was frozen, and so I had to poke at it to get the, and cut it with like a, one of those saw blade, knives, and then I, had to get the chicken off the bone, and it was just gross, and it was just like icy and gross and gooey and yucky, and I just oh my God, this is terrible. It's like it just hit me that this is terrible. What I'm doing to this animal is why, just to make chicken and dumplings. And it was just so at that point I just said, you know what, I'm done. It does. I know at least, I'm not always the healthiest person in the world or the healthiest eater, but I know that when I'm eating, at least it's vegetables, right? It's vegetable based. It's not full of fats and saturated fats and cholesterol and animals, And a lot of the meats that people eat these days are filled with pesticides and hormones and just terrible stuff. Unless you spend a lot of money on your meat, it's not good for you.
It does. It definitely does. Most people say that after cutting out meat products from their diet, they no longer have a type of odor to them, like meat sweats. That's disgusting. Yeah, it just benefits your body overall.
Yeah, I still consider myself an animal activist, although I don't, participate anymore. I'm still, I definitely, support that movement and care about it. I beat myself, beat my head against the wall, doing protests and zines and meetings and stuff for years, and I'm like, okay, I'm done. Activists, you gotta be whatever you become an activist in, you have to really be passionate about it. So if you're passionate about it, yes, for sure, get into it, learn more. Find a group of people that are into it as well. Factory farms and food animals, I think they're an abomination, I think the whole factory farming industry is just out of contact with humanity, the things that they put the animals through, they have no heart, they have no soul, it's treating animals that have feelings and have lives and kids and all these things as if they're lower than even plants that we give water and allow to be out in the sun, and so.
Okay. Well, I think that can be done a lot differently too. I think factory farms aren't so good. And I think that the animals that are processed there for human food, I'm not necessarily against doing that. I would like to see it done a lot more humanely and safely, right? It's actually safer for people too if we know that the animals that are being processed for us to consume are being treated and raised in a safe manner instead of the factory farm model that is popular mostly because it's really profitable.
Factory farms like chickens and cows and pigs, those are disgusting and horrible. Most of the time they're not clean. There's blood and guts everywhere. Just video footage that I've seen previously is horrifying.
I do think that, and I think we can. I think we just choose not to because if we spent more money in the creation and processing of these animals, right, the processing of livestock, then the price of food would go up, and people don't like that. So.
We kill them?
Do it. Yeah, I think it's important to treat everything humanely and with compassion and allow it to thrive. And I think every meat eater out there should want that for their animals as well, right? The animals that they eat. You want it to have had a good life in a healthy life, right? Because you're eating it. So I think everything we do, we should do it with compassion and respect. And if we don't, then what are we doing? Are we just doing everything for profit? Why? Let's do things with some heart, with some soul, with love. Everything, even eating.
Of course, I think that we should treat them with kindness just like everyone else. Just because we eat them doesn't mean that we should treat them like if they mean nothing.
Jeez, I don't have the faintest idea.
You want to take a guess?
Worldwide, or just in the U.S.?
Just worldwide, in general.
Worldwide, let's see. Well, there's 6 billion people. I'm going to go with every day 100 million animals are killed.
Oh God, every day, including the ants. I would say there's 8 billion people in this world, so they all got to eat something, and so so I would say probably 500 million animals are killed every day.
In general.
Probably like in the hundreds.
3 billion animals? Okay, that's a lot.
3 billion? Wow, every day? That is crazy.
3 billion? That's wow. I don't think people should be consuming that much meat in a day.
Do I think about it? Yeah, and I'd rather buy something that has no animal products in it for sure, and no animal testing used in the product, definitely.
I do not. I don't use chapstick, but I do use shampoo. And if the animals have been processed, then I'm glad that they're being used for some things that are functional. So, yeah, if we're going to kill 3 billion animals and make shampoo, I guess I'm glad that since the animals are already dead, that they're going to a good use.
Unfortunately, I don't go around thinking about that, but recently I did see a post on Instagram that made me think that that dogs are tested, tested while people smoke cigarettes. They are used as test animals, and they smoke 7 cigarettes a day or hours upon hours, and that's eye-opening.
No, I don't think it's much of a comparison. There's lots of forms of oppression that people use on one another. It's rarely comes down to killing and eating them. So yeah, so it's definitely what we do to animals is worse than what we do to each other by far.
Yeah, I think we give the same oppression and care to animals. Oh, God, I think we give the same oppression to other peoples because we don't think they're human. We don't treat them as human. We treat them as animals. And when you think that way about something, and you also think animals don't deserve compassion, love, freedom, then you also think those people don't. And I think that's one of the biggest things that we see with police being not believing that the person that they're dealing with is a human being with a family, with feelings, with problems, and killing them. Right? They're not seeing the humanity in them. So yeah, for sure.